still, oh dear, okay. Well, warm greetings to all our CSO colleagues, media, as well as our friends who are viewing this online. It's a real pleasure to have all of you here today as we celebrate the launch of the Manifesto Rakyat. The Manifesto Rakyat, initiated in 2021, is a collective effort led by the CSO Platform for Reform and Gabungan Bertindak Malaysia. Throughout the launch today, we will hear more of this initiative as well as the related advocacy demands contained therein. Are expected to be masked at all times as well as to adhere to the prevailing SOPs. Really appreciate if we could continue to be masked throughout the day. Yep. And without further ado, actually, what I'd like to do, yeah. Faribel reminded me to welcome all our online audience, also viewing via Facebook. Welcome and thank you for joining us, both here in person as well as virtually. Yep. Without taking up too much time, I would like to call on Ms. Beverly Joman, who is the Program Coordinator of the CSO Platform for Reform, for the opening and welcome remarks.
Terima kasih, Washla. Boleh dengar? Apa kabar semua? It is so good to see everyone here at this launch today. And Manifesto Rakyat is work of many people. And it has started back in, the first idea came about in January 2021, when the idea was mooted to the CSO Platform for Reform strategic planning workshop. And this was a group of a coalition. At that time, it was a coalition of about 80 NGOs who agreed to work on this Manifesto Rakyat because, as we know it, we had changes of government which we did not ask for. So, and we also don't want, again, to be told that the manifesto is not the Bible. So this is the manifesto that the people have put together. And it has taken, it has taken a lot of effort to gather the book that you see today. And it all started again with the policy town hall after the call for submission. We have that policy town hall was held online and over 2 days. It was a whole 2 days over the weekend. And there were many layers of consultation, feedback, and deliberation of the words that we want to put in the Manifesto Rakyat, because we don't want the Manifesto Rakyat to sound like it's an academic work, like it's scientific, that is jargon, that is difficult for the everyday person to understand. So yeah, it is the work of many, and must be everyone who had a hand in this must be commended for contributing to this I don't know, it's a pre-victory for the Rakyat because we have got our voices into one book. So we have received over 300 submissions, and the book consists of 50,000 words, and it's translated to Bahasa as well. They have been requested to translate it to other languages, and we welcome anyone who would be able to do that and come and collaborate with us, right? So at this point of time, we are able to produce it in English and Bahasa Malaysia. So it will also be available on our website, the Manifesto Rakyat 2021 website. We have actually postponed this launch 3-4 times because we wanted to ensure that the end product is what we want to represent us all, the voice that we want to represent us all. And this massive document of 180 pages nampak kecil saja, tapi dia dipenuhi dengan polisi-polisi yang berasaskan suara rakyat. Inilah yang dimaukan oleh rakyat. So we have 100 books in English. Soon maybe we have in Bahasa. We have 2,000 posters in English and Bahasa Malaysia, 2,000 each. And we really hope, our aspiration for coming up with this document is that we really hope that the political parties or the political candidates, aspiring political candidates, to look into this policy through the policies, 27 policies, and pick up whichever policy that is close to your heart and to fight for it in the next round of general election and include it in your manifesto. But please don't come back to us and say that the manifesto is not the Bible, because we don't want the rakyat, we don't want this anymore. We want something that is working, something that is alive, and it's really based on the realities on the ground. So for the rakyat, let us use this demand, the policies. Let us use this to strengthen our voices. When any political parties, politicians come to your hometown, come to your area and say that we will do this, we will do that. Tell them this is what we want you to do. This is what we want you to angkatlah suara rakyat dalam campaign yang akan datang. Tell it to your calon wakil rakyat, calon adun kah, MP kah, and ask them to listen to our voices. To speak in depth on the Manifesto Rakyat, I will leave it to our main coordinator, Dr. Lim Chi Han. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Beverly. On that note, I feel very privileged and proud to stand here and also to invite Dr. Lim Chi Han, who literally whipped us into shape as we were working on this manifesto. So Chi Han, the floor is yours, and please proceed with your presentation.
Hi. Thank you, Washila. Thanks, Barry, CSO platform coordinator for this project, and CSO colleagues, comrades, friends, media friends, YB. Good morning. Selamat sejahtera, 大家早上好. Today I stand before you to give you the introduction. Briefing on what Manifesto Rakyat is about. I'm very privileged to lead this, all the brilliant contributors of the ideas of what Rakyat voices are supposed to be. We spent, like what Barry said, over a year to work out this one, to present to you what are the people's voices. The project coordinator for Manifesto Rakyat. So, next, please. Okay, all right. Yes, oftentimes I think Rakyat issues are carried in the media, yes. But a lot of times also, these voices are ignored. We have marginalized communities, we have vulnerable communities. Many of the voices are not actually carried up by and brought about to the forefront, to the attention of our government, politicians. And these pertinent issues actually affect all our lives and livelihoods. And still, a lot of times, politicians, they care about their self-preservation, their self-interest, rarely really discuss in depth about what are the people's issues and come up with tangible, practical solutions to solve people's problems. People are suffering during the pandemic, during the economic turmoil caused by the pandemic, and all these voices desperately to be heard. That's why we want to present you Manifesto Rakyat. What are Manifesto Rakyat? It's a collection of Rakyat voices with real names and faces. So we will have this recorded in text, in video format, and on our dedicated website, Manifesto Rakyat 2021.org, and various social media channels. So it should represent a microsome of diverse voices from Rakyat. What we want to see is to achieve this harmonious, equitable, progressive nation. So I'm proud to bring, to have this project, collaborative project between GBM and CSO platform. These two are major CSO coalition in this country, consists of 28 members for GBM and 102 members for CSO platform, and there are many overlapping members as well. But we are part of important voices from the civil society. I'm glad to work with, it's my privilege to work with all of the members and the team. The purpose, the objective is to build the broad and inclusive social coalitions. So it's this Manifesto Rakyat, we do not aim for just general election. No, that's not our purpose. We are Rakyat, we're not politicians, we're not political parties. Our purpose is to have this platform to build our social movement. What is different to other type of manifesto is that we emphasize a lot on the idea ownership. We ask people for inputs, they give their proposals, they should own part of this Manifesto Rakyat. And this should empower them to do more advocacy using this platform. And we also emphasize on active engagement and persuasion. That means to seek for people's feedback and get their buy-ins and endorsements. So we would like to grow this movement. These are the example of the other type of manifesto that you are very familiar about. These are political manifestos. They have some characteristic. I make a simple comparison to show you what are the difference between our Manifesto Rakyat and the political party's manifesto. The political party manifesto usually they are top down and take a very elitist view because they a lot of time also lack of consultation. They focus on wooing the voters for their general election. Yeah, so parties' vested interest always at the forefront. Yeah, and a lot of times also don't know who are the writers behind the manifesto. So it's lack of accountability and responsibility. After they win the election, you don't know actually who wrote that, who should be responsible. And a lot of times on the paper is one-way communication because they tell you what they want. It's not that for them to, I mean, it's not that they have a thorough consultation to improve on their policies. But ours is very different. We take the bottom-up approach. We want voices from the communities or from grassroots. We take a lot of efforts to collect proposal submissions from the people. And we also had our policy town hall session to do the policy discussion. So our interest is the common interest of people. We want as diverse voices as possible, not taking into consideration of electoral outcome. What if those groups are marginalized? They don't carry any weight of electoral weight. We don't care. We want to represent the people's voices. So we have our proposals, name, writers, all cited in the document. We will ensure this is interactive and engagement because this will be a living document. This is what you see today is the first version. After we get the inputs, feedback from the ground, we will come up with something better, adapting to the current time. So this Manifesto Rakyat will live beyond the GE. Yep. So coming back to this question, apa lagi rakyat mahu? A lot of times also political parties ask this question. So we want to prove a point. So on the 11th of May last year, we called for proposals from the public to do the submission according to 27 policy areas. That was the first time this Manifesto Rakyat project went public. And we spent some time to make sure we reach different communities and get to different voices. But we don't want just any kind of rumbling, just ranting about their unhappiness about issues. So in our proposal structure, we put emphasis on some kind of thinking about the problems and solutions. So this is just an example on the right. Okay, sorry. To talk about the problem statements, values, and proposal of solutions. So it should be as comprehensive on its own. So you can check all the individual proposals on our website, originally submitted by the proposers. So this is the timeline of our project. Just very quickly, we spent 3 months collecting public submissions, and even that we extended once to ensure more inputs coming in. And on the 2nd and 3rd of October, we had our policy town hall meeting, and we finalized the document only in March this year. And now, today, it marks the launch of our Manifesto Rakyat. I just give you a brief structure of our Manifesto Rakyat. It contains 3 pillars holding up the 27 policy areas. The first pillar is on the unity in diversity, Bangsa Malaysia. It's talking about our national identity, the social cohesion. This is a very important fabric of our nation, how we can come together. This is the important issues under the pillar number 1. Pillar 2, we emphasize on civil rights and liberties. We talk about the basic rights in terms of human rights and freedom of expression. We also looking into demographic groups like such as women, youth, child, and marginalized communities, vulnerable communities such as migrant workers, indigenous people, and undocumented persons. And we, least but not to forget, that we also have, Malaysia is a big country. We also have other regional area very much left behind. So we have a focus on Sabah and Sarawak to take up their specific issues, because their issues most likely will be quite different to those in Peninsula. And the pillar number 3 is about creating the democratic, just, and equitable society. And we see all the important policies such as health, education, environment, and we talk about important reforms such as electoral reform, parliamentary reform, and judicial reform. All these are important stuff to be included in the pillar number 3. Just give you a snapshot of the total submissions, public submission that we received up until September last year. It's close to 300. The most we received, the one from education, not surprisingly, 41 proposals. Next will be economic justice, and then a lot also on health, environment, human rights. This actually reflect the contemporary politics, social politics that time during the pandemic. People talk about economic justice because they're suffering from the economic hardship. They talk about health because of pandemic. So I would say that Manifesto Rakyat actually really reflect what are the sentiments on the ground. We're not just receiving this submission, we also encourage people to come talk about it. So over the two days in October, we had this policy town hall, which went on live in 2 channels, one on GBN, another on CSO, to talk through all the 27 policy areas in 2 days. It was a very intensive program, but we discussed more than 220 proposals during these 2 days. These are just a snapshot of the discussion for the 2 days. And I want to present to you the Manifesto Rakyat, the document, the finalized version. Yeah, just now Barry said, this is what you can see later. You will get a copy after the launch. It consists of 223 pages. It's not a very thin book. It contains about 42,000 words in terms of content. So it's not the most elaborated policy review, but it contains the most essential major issues that we like to discuss about. We also have a version for people to get a snapshot of our Manifesto Rakyat by presenting you the posters, the highlights of all the 27 policy areas. So later you can have a copy in BM and English to understand what these chapters are talking about and demanding. We'd like to introduce you to the website. One key feature that we say that we are different to other political manifesto is that our website contains several features for people to not only download and read, and also endorse. We do the endorsement campaign, not on paper, but we also do it virtually, asking people, after you read, you agree, you endorse straight away, so that everyone can do the endorsement campaign. These are very decentralized features for all civil society members to work together to get people's understanding consensus about the ideas. So after that, we will demonstrate how you can do the endorsement. And we will take the, after some time, we will take probably do the second round of updates after the first version. And we also work in tandem with the MP and Adun profiling website. This coming soon, the project coming soon from GBM to talk about these manifesto actions, whether the candidates or the MP and Aduns currently agree with whatever is said in the Manifesto Rakyat, so that people can judge, the voters can judge what are their stance. We don't ask their parties, we ask them what they actually believe in if I elect you. So this is how you can do the endorsement. There are two levels. One is to endorse the whole Manifesto Rakyat as a document. Later we will do we'll demonstrate to you how to do it. And probably there are people care more about certain policy areas such as education or environment. You need not to agree to everything, but if there's something that you're really passionate about and you want to endorse about specific chapters or policy areas, you can do so. You can also go to each chapter page. At the bottom of the page, you add your name there and click submit, then you will be part of the endorsement list. You'll be part of the growing movement. And surely later, people also ask us what to do with this Manifesto Rakyat. I would say that the work has just begun, because the more important thing is to get the message out to the public, to let people hear about the people's voices and how we can come together to advocate and make the change. Yeah. So our teams, our working group will go out to have a roundtable discussion, roadshow, and our social media will be used to gain more visibility and gain momentum whenever we get more prominent people to endorse our Manifesto Rakyat. We also ask people to speak up, send their materials to us in terms of video or something. We can make those voices heard in our social media channels. And surely we would like to talk to political parties and institutions about what are the people's ideas for reform. And we also ask MPs, Aduns, and candidates about their opinion. Okay, so no more about this question. If you want to know, take a reference to our book. These are people's voices. Don't ask that question anymore. And they are welcome to copy our ideas because it's all people's ideas. So I will take this chance to acknowledge and thank my team, those in the working group and the social media team and the team of writers are all in the acknowledgement in the book. So these are known writers. We are not running away. We are responsible for what we wrote, and we think that this is a true representation of people's voices. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lim Chi Han. Thank you not just for your presentation, but thank you for pulling us all together and coordinating us in this process. Now, we're now moving on to snapshots of the policy briefs. Yeah, we have a few speakers representing the different policy areas. I'll first call on Ms. Sherlyn Patrick from the CSO Platform for Reform Sabah chapter, who'll be speaking on Sabah.
Thank you, MC. Yeah, so my name is Sherlyn.